Good morning. This is my cat, Arlo. He has decided to join us today. He will sit here for a short time and then he will leave. But my name is Paula. My author name is P.B. Moreland. My dragon, Crystal, who I am. I have dragon blood flowing through my veins. My soul origin is of the dragon realm. Some of you have met me before. Some of you might just be meeting me for the first time. So welcome to my Crystal Tales and Dragon Scales channel. If you would be so kind to subscribe, to like this channel, and to share it with your friends as I'm growing this YouTube channel for an audience who appreciates the mysteries of life, the magic, the hidden truths, the secrets, the wonderful, wonderful golden age that we are entering, and how sometimes challenging that can be. Days can be challenging, but beneath it all, there lies a gift of freedom, of sovereignty, of something our souls have searched for in this earthly plane for millennia. So let's get right down to the beginning or the nature of this video today. And it is going to be about when I first discovered and how it felt when I realized I didn't need to be needed. So in this beautiful journey of ours, for some reason, there is like a mirror effect to being human. It is quite natural to seek out confirmation from others. It is quite natural for the human being to have a partner, whether it's female, male, animal, friend, that you can mirror yourself off of, and most likely you won't even know that you're doing that, because it is human nature, stemming from centuries ago when we needed our tribes to survive, when women's beauty placed them above all else, and men's wealth made them most appealing. It is the old archetypes of the feminine and the masculine. Feminine beauty, masculine abundance. That's changing as humanity changes. Now, what he starts to do when he needs my attention is he starts to nibble on my hand, and I don't always appreciate that. He's a boy cat. Gets a little feisty. So I'm going to put him down. We'll see if he returns or not. But in the world of being needed, feeling needed, there was a sense of completion in that. It's time, it's endless, the way humanity has evolved over the millennia. It's not just thousands of years, it's millions of years. And it has gone up and down, meaning there were times of humanity on this planet where the vibration and the frequency of the being itself was much higher than it is today, because we have descended in frequency due to various factors. But we are now increasing that vibration once again. And this time, I know in my heart, I believe that we're going to be okay. And it is happening. It will happen. The golden age is right at our doorstep. And the cords, let's say, the bridges of attachment to other human beings do not have to be so solid in that need to be needed. And like I do in other videos, I have notes on my phone because this is an organic, meaning a very natural conversation I'm having with you, depending on how I have felt in the last few days. But I do like to put notes down so that I can stay on track. And so I say that to you because I have watched other YouTube, what do we call ourselves? Let's just say folks who glance at their phone. It's like they're reading off of their phone all the time. And sometimes that's a little distracting for me because when I watch these characters, these people who are part of my tribe, they are the light workers, the realm workers, the beings who are starting to awaken and who have awakened, and they talk of things that are appealing to me. A few of them read from a script the whole time. And then I start to question whether these are their own thoughts or they found them somewhere, and because that's the nature of me. I'm somewhat of an investigator, a researcher, and that comes from years for researching my books, which I will talk about towards the end of this video because of something that occurred over the last few days that helped awaken the storyline that has been slumbering for 10 years in the book number 5, titled Blue Flame Rising, which I started writing 10 years ago, and I got a few hundred pages into this 5th book in the Whitebird series, and I came to an abrupt halt. So I go back now to talk about the need to be needed. The day I realized I did not need to be needed. And how beautiful that is, because sometimes the need to be needed is a hidden tether, a disguise for love, and sometimes it's a burden. There are many of us, including myself, who was codependent on someone else's love. I grew up in a household with an alcoholic father. My father was your typical, I don't know if many of you remember the Fred Flintstone character. In the show The Flintstones, Fred certainly didn't drink, but he was loud and he was big and colorful. And then there was a character named Thirsty in a comic strip. Oh, darn it all. I forgot the name of the comic strip. Hi and Lois. I remembered it. Their neighbor was named Thirsty because he was continuously had a drink in his hand, but he also liked to wear bright shirts like circles, polka dots, and pants that completely did not match the shirt in squares or plaids. And he was loving, and he was a big teddy bear. That's my father. Passed away in 2012. But he, he went through recovery in the 70s through AA. So he lived out the last 2 decades, 3 decades of his life sober. And it was positive and negative for his story. But that said, I was raised in this household, and I was also the peacekeeper in the household. I sensed all the energies because I am a frequency reader. I read frequencies and I respond. I used to react to these frequencies and I had to settle them down. I felt like I was the one who needed to keep the peace. As a result, my daughter was the peacekeeper in my family. I was a drinker, quiet drinker. There is a video, I think it is titled, I don't remember the title, but I do have it in my description when I have a brief remembrance and memories of my days drinking and my subsequent recovery. But because of having an alcoholic mother, my daughter was the peacekeeper, was the codependent, and who indeed has a need to be needed today. So there is that tapestry that weaves through families and relationships where there's a need to be needed. And the day you awaken to the realization that you no longer need to be needed, there is beauty in that because of the freedom that comes with no longer needing to be needed. That doesn't mean you are abandoning relationships or that you're cold and callous to these relationships. What it means is there's a joy of not being entangled. I have a very close relationship to my own dear sweet mother, who I've mentioned in other videos. She's now in her 90s. She's independent, but we've had our lives entangled since forever. I know in past lives, I know in the temples of Isis and in the convents as nuns. And there were lives of betrayal and pain. And this lifetime, I know we chose each other as mother and daughter to release those bonds that held us so tightly together, codependent and dependent, needing to be needed, depending upon. So I am wired as someone, and I mentioned this in a past video as well, who is a change agent. I have a fire, the dragon blood, sometimes loud, sometimes soft, mostly soft, only just reawakening this fire within that can cause change where I go when I work places. I recognized it as such that things did start to tumble apart when I entered the rooms after months. Kind of being vague here because I don't like to be repetitive in my videos, but this can happen with relationships as well. I know my frequency is ancient, and so it does stir memories with some when I am in their realm, in their boundaries, in their macabre. We have a very large energetic space that surrounds us. And when I enter someone else's frequency, I stir something in them. They don't know this. Most humans have no idea this is happening. I do now. I understand why there are people on the planet who do not like to be around me, who react strongly when I enter a room. And then there are those who react in a very open, kind way, where I used to only notice those in my orbit who reacted negatively. And I completely baffled. Why don't they like me? I'm a likable person. I'm kind and giving. Well, sure I was, because I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be needed. I felt that authentication from someone else was what would make my life whole and happy and full. When I began to awaken, again, it's been slowly in stages. I was awake when I was born, and the veil came down much heavier when I was 3 and 4, when I realized what I had gotten myself into. I realized that right away, and I can tell by the pictures of me as a child. And there are videos or movies, projector movies on the film that my parents took when we were growing up, which I have transferred into DVD, and they're delightful to watch. But I was always, in my first year and a half, my expression was that of horror. What in the F did I just put myself into? I do not want to be here. Please. My father reminded me quite often, and I asked him very kindly finally to stop, reminding me that for the first 9 months I cried, and I cried. And I just basically upset the household, but it was because I couldn't fit into the energies. They were painful. And I felt their resistance against me. I felt my older sister completely having no desire to be around me. As a person of frequency reader, I took this all in as a child, as an infant, and as a subsequent toddler. And the only way I could be loved by my family and friends was if I just shut this out, this inner world down that was making it so I was very vocal in my expression of the fairies and the dragons and the beings of light that surrounded me. I shut that off because I wanted to be accepted into my family, and I wanted to be needed, and I wanted to be loved, and I wanted to be normal. And I carried this through. And you can all, most of you can relate, I am sure. This is the mark of the freedom fighter, the black sheep of the family, the soul that walks the planet today that is in desire, or that is in a very important role to awaken, to find their voice, to express themselves in the way they needed to express themselves when they came into this planet in this lifetime. In the 80s, as I said, I began to awaken in the beautiful New Age community. And then it ebbed and flowed back and forth through the darkness of my soul in the 90s, even though my children were beautiful daughters who my heart sings every time I think of the days spent with those two beings and my husband at the time. It was a wonderful life. I was a practicing alcoholic at the time, but I compartmentalized my life because my children, those two blonde beauties who are still very near to me, we had fun. We lived life out loud. We chased fairies in the forest. But there was a darkness there that was encroaching on me. It was getting larger and larger and taking me down deeper and deeper. And that was my shadows, my aspects that were coming to the forefront of my life that needed to be acknowledged and needed to be healed so that I could evolve from that chrysalis into this butterfly that I am in today. It took a lot of work. One of the mirror or the reflections of this beautiful life I find myself in is how the day I realized I did not need to be needed. And that is the quiet stillness of the golden age that is here. It didn't come with trumpets and loud fanfare, with a great solar flash. It came with these inner knowings. It's something simple. It's poetic. Once you feel that tone, you can hear the stillness. Feel the gratitude, the little things. I'm so grateful for my animals, for my home, for my health. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for the pain that I have gone through because that's the catalyst. It didn't have to be dramatic pain, even though I have suffered through 3 very traumatic car crashes. I will talk about those in future videos because they were determined and I created them to awaken. It's a great metaphor when you have a car accident as part of that injury to the car, and it's metaphorical to your own bodies changing. But the golden age is here. And it comes in the stillness of understanding that it's in the small pieces of the beautiful world that I am in. I know that many of us are waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting for our president to give us all the golden coins, and our Nasera Gesera opens up, and the jubilee begins that other channelers speak of, when the debt clock is no longer operating, when our government collapses, when the world has councils and not government heads, when there is not a two-party government. There are some who are waiting for the outside world to change so that they can catch up. However, it is the reverse of that. Our inner selves are changing. Our inner tapestry is being woven with starlight and solar energy light codes. The DNA within us, within my dragon, within my inner child, is awakening, has awakened. And there are times where I will admit it, it's very hard to believe. I have been a character on this planet who operated for years with the mantra that my father carried around with him, was the Murphy's Law. If something bad is going to happen, it will. However, when I did watch the movie, one of my favorite movies, Interstellar, love that movie, it was explained differently because one of the characters, the young girl, whose name is Murphy, her father, who is played by, his name, just tip of my tongue. You know him, that's that character. Doesn't matter. He explains that Murphy's Law is more as, if it can happen, it will happen. It doesn't have to be negative. But I did walk through life just almost daring the world to challenge me, because I did not feel worthy of its grandeur, its beauty. I had placed these armors around myself from a very young age, and I had created a life for myself that, yes, there was beauty in it. Yes, I found joy with my children. Yes, I was married. I had a wonderful life with my partner at the time, until I determined that I needed to be free. I needed to release this man who needed something more than I could give him. I was a crass, meaning caustic, who pretended to be spiritual. For many years, my internal world was anger and almost rage, that how dare the world offer me such slim givings. I'm royal. I'm a grand being. I should be able to snap my fingertips and everything I desire should be right in front of me. I have pounded my fists on the floor and had major tantrums at spirit. And I have said words to spirit that would make your ears bleed. Yes, part of my awakening, part of my aspects, demanding to be heard in pain and betrayal. Over the last 5 years, I've softened. I have learned how to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable doesn't mean being weak. Excuse me, my legs get sore, sitting cross-legged. It isn't an easy journey. It is not for the faint-hearted. You must be willing to meet every part of yourself and to be real. You must be willing to dive down into the depths of hell of your soul. I came out of that, and so can you. Maybe you've already been there. What were your dark days like? Please share them with the community. Over the last 5 years, magical appearances in my memory. No, I am not clairvoyant. I do not see the hidden realms. I do not see beyond the veil. But I know I am clairsentient. I know. I don't need the proof anymore. I used to seek the proof. Excuse me. I haven't had a drink of coffee in about 20 minutes. I used to chase proof. Proof. Show me the proof. Show me the money. That line from Jerry Maguire. I don't need that today. I know in my soul that I am free. I am no longer needed by the world. That there is magic in that. My mother, who we have danced together, as I say, over through stars, our souls. I have allowed her in the last 5 years, and that sounds a little arrogant saying I have allowed my mother, but for many, many years, in my early adulthood up until a few years ago, I brought her everywhere with me and my daughters and my family and subsequently my grandsons. I brought her with. I invited her to everything. Loved my mother's energy. But in the stillness and the quiet and the change agent within me, I knew I was also not allowing her to grow into her own being because I was always there for her. Never, never allowed her, gave her the opportunity, is a better way of saying it, to understand what it means to be independent. My mother does not like to be alone. She is not a solitary creature. She's social. She loves having people around her all the time. And I know that there is beauty in that, but I also know that there is a beauty in not being needed. And I have orchestrated it in a very graceful, loving, quiet, distant way, where I know my mother is very wise, very wise. She's strong and resilient. Sometimes I haven't allowed her to remember that because of my presence. And I've done that and so I backed away. Not in a spiteful way, but through self-care of my own. And if she does see this video, I don't know why she would, but if she ever watched it, she will understand that there's grace in distancing, that there's beauty and love and wisdom in distancing, giving another soul the opportunity to spread their own wings in their own way, even though they might not feel that's what they want to do. I allow this with my own daughters and friends. When I felt the need to pull away, I did so in a graceful way. This is part of becoming the master of my own life. The day I recognized I did not need to be needed and understood that the golden age is part of that tapestry. Being grateful, going to sleep every night, saying goodnight to all my family members in a whisper, and for what I'm grateful for that day. Knowing my dreams will take me to hidden realms where I can practice being the master being the way shower through my dream world. And upon awakening, fully refreshed from a good solid 8 hours sleep, I am so blessed. I have no aches in my body. The last 3 years, I have had many where my neck was completely stuck, where my spine was on fire, where my lower back was out of whack, let's say, and I could not do anything. My right shoulder was very sore. I could not reach back. All of that has metamorphosized through energy work. Yes, visiting the chiropractor. Yes, stretching. Yes, doing these arm swings. These is a Chinese practice, which released all of this stuck energy because of a lot of it was due to my dragon, who was still chained in the mountain. And when I released my dragon, a lot of this stuck energy started to change. Today, I no longer carry physical pain without any operations. As I've said, I do not go to the doctor for any reason. And I say that in full honesty and full comfort. Until the world of hospitals and doctors changes into more holistic methods, I do not wish to visit those rooms. I had to take a break to check my notes. So when I did visit my mother over the last few days, I saw her out of peace, not through duty. I visit her through peace, not through duty, as her daughter, not as her caretaker. She's working it out, and I did not feel strapped to her story, and that is liberation. For much of my life, being needed felt like love, like purpose. But I've changed. I'm not here to be someone's lifeline. I'm here to shine. I'm here to shine in the quiet and the stillness. I'm here to shine with my friends and my coworkers and my mother and my brother and my sister and my daughters and my grandsons. I'm not here because they need me. I am not their lifeline. They are their own lifeline. If you're tired of being needed, maybe you're ready to be free. This takes strength and trust in yourself. It takes a lot of beautiful self-care. And it isn't escape when you gently distance yourself from relationships and friends. It's a return to yourself. It's a return to your inner garden, to your sovereignty. It's beautiful. We do not need to be needed by others. In this golden age that we are in right now, the star dust falls upon our heads, and the sunlight and the light codes are merging with our light bodies. I have experienced fatigue beyond measure over the last few weeks, and it is gone. That fatigue has passed. I am so delighted. I have energy again. I do not need to run marathons. I now have the energy to begin writing again, and that is what I'm going to end this video with. My story is set in the year of 2011, the Whitebird series, because 2011 is the beginning, the year setting up 2012 in that timeline. And it was appropriate at that time because I started writing these books in 1995. I published the first book in 2011 as I began rewriting it in 2009, where it just downloaded information, downloaded all these ancient teachings, and my characters were knocking on my mind's eye like a herd of elephants. And then, as I said in other videos, all of a sudden, whoosh, they disappeared. I could not write another word. I'd already written a few hundred pages of Blue Flames Rising. That was in 2014 and 15 and 16. I tried numerous times to continue, but I couldn't. Excuse me, this is my daughter. Okay, I'm back. Have to talk to my daughter if she calls me. So I was talking about my journey of writing, and it's back. The story set in 2011. And what I was writing about then is current today, because I do think there was a timeline shift, meaning an opportunity was missed in 2012 for that ascension point. Humanity wasn't awake enough in our timeline. They are right now in this particular timeline. Souls are awakening rapidly. The 3D world is crumbling. It has to. And it's a beautiful fall. It doesn't frighten me. In fact, it's exciting. I live in that truth that these changes are going to come and happen. And as a result, we will live in the world we were promised. Beauty, freedom, innocence, without the dark energies that have controlled us for so long. So my story is reawakening, and it's appropriate that it's awakening now, and I can merge these timelines in my storyline. It makes sense to me, and I'm excited to start writing again. So with that, I hope you are having a glorious day. It is the month of June when the air is soft, the trees are fragrant, the flowers are still young enough to look fresh. Minnesota is getting a lot of rain right now, and that's good. I can handle and accept that. We won't get too much rain. We will get just enough. And with the rain comes fresh energies. A quick ring of the bell for the children. Those dark seeds are awakening within them, rising to the surface. The ancient masters, clothed in innocence. You are safe and protected, my darlings. And I see you. I see you in your stillness and in your own essence. I see you drifting from relationships that are binding you. Those lifelines that say they need you in order to survive. And know that you are not alone. You are seen and loved. And remember to see those you pass on the street and give them a nod, a smile, and play well together. For this is a grand journey that we are all on together on this beautiful planet called Earth. Namaste.